Atlantis, a place that has sparked people's curiosity for a long time, like a mystery waiting to be solved. Atlantis is like a dream and a cautionary tale all rolled into one. It represents the dream of a perfect advanced society, but it also reminds us of the dangers of arrogance and how quickly things can go wrong. Atlantis is an old story with hidden secrets, and people are really curious about it, even though it happened a very long time ago. But what if I said there are old writings, things found underwater, and strange clues that make us think Atlantis might be real? Get ready to discover the hidden secrets of a city lost in time but never forgotten. This is the story of Atlantis' hidden secrets. Chapter 1. The Enigmatic Origins. Our journey through the myth of Atlantis begins with one of the most famous ancient philosophers, Plato. The great philosopher, who lived in Athens around 427 to 347 BC, first mentioned Atlantis in his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. According to Plato, Atlantis was a mighty island situated beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now know as the Strait of Gibraltar. It was a land blessed with abundance, a place where nature and civilization coexisted in perfect harmony. This utopian society was ruled by a noble class known as the 10 Kings of Atlantis. Plato's vivid descriptions of Atlantis paint a picture of an advanced civilization. He spoke of grand architecture with temples adorned in precious metals, lavish palaces, and intricate canals. Atlantis was considered the best of what humans could do, a place of lots of success and smart thinking. The heart of Atlantis, according to Plato, was its central island, where the capital city of the civilization stood. In the middle of the city, there was a big palace, where leaders of Atlantis lived. Around the palace, there were several circles with water around them and tunnels connecting them. This well thought out design showed that the people of Atlantis were really good at building things and understanding how to make them work. But the Atlantis we now know is a sad story. In Plato's writings, it's said that the people of Atlantis became too proud. They wanted to take over more and more lands because they were very ambitious and wanted a lot of power. But their big dreams led to their own destruction. Plato's stories also tell us that the gods were angry with Atlantis. They punished the land by making the earth shake and causing huge floods. In just one day and one night, the entire civilization of Atlantis sank into the ocean. Now, as we venture beyond Plato's writings and deeper into the annals of history, we find ourselves in the modern world, where the story of Atlantis continues to capture hearts and minds. Throughout many years, lots of adventurers, smart people, and individuals who love mysteries have gone on missions to find out if the story of Atlantis is real. As we learn about Atlantis and Plato's descriptions of this advanced society, I'm reminded of the incredible support from our community. Just like Atlantis symbolizes human achievement, our channel thrives thanks to your support. If you are interested in mysteries of the past, like I am, and enjoy this exploration of Atlantis, please consider joining our community of curious minds by subscribing to our channel. By hitting that subscribe button, you'll become part of an ongoing journey to uncover the secrets of history. And if you found this video interesting, simply clicking the like button is like voting for more content like this. Your likes and subscriptions keep us going, just like Atlantis in history. Now, let's keep exploring Atlantis, and thanks for being part of our adventure. Chapter 2. The Vision of Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce, a clairvoyant of the early 20th century, was one such individual. He delved into the mysteries of Atlantis during his live readings. Cayce claimed that many of his subjects were reincarnations of Atlanteans. He believed that by accessing the Akashic records, a term borrowed from Theosophy, he could reveal detailed descriptions of the lost continent. Cayce's vision took him to the heart of Atlantis, where he saw glimpses of an advanced society. He spoke of high technology, healing crystals, and even the legendary Hall of Records beneath the Egyptian Sphinx. According to Cayce, this hall contained historical texts of Atlantis, preserved for the future generations. As Cayce explored the thoughts and memories of the people from Atlantis, he uncovered an epic story of their ancient civilization. His visions made people believe that Atlantis might return, and this idea became very popular in the 1960s. Many believed that the 1960s would mark the resurgence of Atlantis. Cayce's interpretations of Atlantis brought the myth back to life, blending history, mysticism, and prophecy into a fascinating narrative. Chapter 3. The Clash with Science. Yet, as we journey through time, we encounter a turning point. In the 1960s, the scientific world transformed with the widespread acceptance of the theory of a continental drift and the understanding of plate tectonics. These discoveries demonstrated the impossibility of a lost continent in the geological recent past. The allure of Atlantis became too vain in the face of scientific understanding. One prominent Plato scholar, Julia Annis, provided a perspective on the enduring fascination with Atlantis. She highlighted the dangers of reading Plato's dialogues as literal historical accounts. Plato's emphasis on the historicity of events was a standard literary device in his time, signaling to readers that what followed was a work of fiction. Annis argued that Plato intended to use the story as a vehicle to examine ideas of government and power, rather than as a factual account of Atlantis. In her view, those who ventured off to explore the seabed had missed the point of Plato's work. But, as with many great mysteries, the story of Atlantis continued to evolve. Some scholars proposed that the story of Atlantis served as a warning from Plato to his fellow citizens about the dangers of striving for naval power. The enduring misunderstandings of Plato as an historian enabled us to understand why his distrust of imaginative writing was sometimes justified. With the credibility of Atlantis as a historical fact waning, we find ourselves immersed in a sea of location hypotheses. Since the days of Ignatius Donnelly, who sparked the modern fascination with Atlantis in the late 19th century, numerous locations have been proposed for this enigmatic land. Atlantis became a generic concept disconnected from Plato's specific account, and many proposals were anything but scholarly or archaeological. Chapter 4. Unveiling Atlantis' global enigma. Most historically proposed locations, interestingly, were in or near the Mediterranean Sea. Islands like Sardinia, Crete, Santorini, Sicily, Cyprus and Malta along with land-based cities or states like Troy, Tartessos, and Tantalus were among the popular choices. Israel's Sinai or Canaan, along with northwestern Africa, including the rigid structure in Mauritania, were also suggested as potential sites. The Pharaoh eruption, dated to the 17th or 16th century BC, became a focal point in the discussion. This volcanic event caused a massive tsunami that many experts speculated could have devastated the Minoan civilization on Crete, thus inspiring the story of Atlantis. The association between Pharaoh eruption and the catastrophic end of civilization seemed too compelling to ignore. In the area of the Black Sea, new locations were proposed, such as the Bosphorus and Encoma, a legendary place near Trabzon. But one interesting twist comes from the historical description of the Pillars of Hercules. Before the 6th century BC, these mountains on either side of the Laconian Gulf were known by this name. They stood at either side of the southernmost gulf in Greece, which opens onto the Mediterranean Sea. This interpretation placed Atlantis in a location other than the Atlantic, with the mountains of the Laconian Gulf as the geographical features described in ancient accounts. This unique interpretation suggests that Plato might not have been aware of this distinction, and the term Gibraltar may have been misinterpreted as the location of Atlantis instead of the Gulf of Laconia. The Laconian pillars opened to the south towards Crete and beyond, which led to Egypt. This possibility was considered by Professor Angelos Galanopoulos, who noticed the similarity of the names Laconian and Laconia. But the Mediterranean was not the only candidate. In the Atlantic Ocean, various hypotheses aimed to pinpoint the elusive Atlantis. Popular culture often places Atlantis in the Atlantic, most commonly near the Azores. These islands, an autonomous region of Portugal, have been suggested as the possible remnants of the lost continent. However, geological studies show the Azores are related to the volcanic activity and tectonic processes, not a sunken landmass. Moving away from the Azores, other potential locations within the Atlantic Ocean included the Canary Islands and Madeira Islands. While these islands are interesting in their own right, they lack the geological evidence to support the Atlantis myth. Further into the Atlantic, theories involving the Bermuda Triangle and the Bahamas emerged. This area became synonymous with unexplained disappearances and paranormal phenomena. The Bimini Road, a submerged rock formation off the coast of Bimini in the Bahamas, was touted as a potential artifact from Atlantis. Although these locations in the Atlantic Ocean are captivating, none provide concrete evidence required to support the existence of Atlantis. Instead, they contribute to the enduring aura of mystery surrounding the myth. As we journey around the world in search of Atlantis, our explorations lead us to Northern Europe. The ancient region of Dargaland, submerged beneath the North Sea, has garnered attention. While this area was indeed inhabited in ancient times, the geological events responsible for its submersion occurred thousands of years earlier than the time frame Plato suggested for Atlantis. We venture to the Scandinavian lands, where Sweden has been proposed as a possible site for Atlantis. The hypothesis leans on the idea that the Baltic Sea was once a freshwater lake and could have been the body of water described by Plato as the Central Islands' Rig Sea. While Sweden is rich in history and folklore, the geological evidence for this location remains inconclusive. Some have even ventured to the frozen, distant continent of Antarctica, suggesting it as the site of Atlantis. This radical proposal is based on geological evidence pointing to a time when Antarctica had a more temperate climate, but it raises many questions and lacks widespread support. Beyond the Atlantic and the Mediterranean, other regions have also been drawn into the Atlantis enigma. In the Indian Ocean, the idea of a lost continent off the coast of India, named Kumari Kingdom, has inspired speculation. This hypothetical land, often described in Tamil literature and mythology, was said to have sunk beneath the ocean. However, there is no geological or archaeological evidence to substantiate this claim. The legendary Sunderland, an ancient continental shelf in the South China Sea, has also captured the imagination of Atlantis enthusiasts. With evidence of an advanced civilization in Southeast Asia during the prehistoric times, some believe that this could have been the plausible site for Atlantis. Our journey of discovery takes us through various locations, each bearing a piece of the puzzle. As we explore these fascinating ideas, we must remember that the search for Atlantis is more than just a quest for a lost land. It is a journey into the human psyche. The allure of Atlantis lies not only in its geographical whereabouts, but also in the broader questions it raised about human history, technology, and the pursuit of knowledge. Chapter 5: Atlantis in Art and Imagination. Through the ages, the myth of Atlantis has extended beyond its original narrative. It has become a symbol of a lost, idealized past, an image of perfection that has slipped through humanity's grasp. Atlantis represents the tantalizing notion of a utopia or dystopia, a reflection of our desires and our fears. In literature, Atlantis has been reimagined in countless ways. It has been the focus of ancient versions, utopias, dystopias, and epic narratives. Writers, poets, and storytellers have crafted their interpretations, each adding a unique layer to the myth. One such work is Sir Thomas More's Utopia, a book published in 1516. In this classic piece of literature, More describes an imaginary island with a perfect society. Although More's Utopia isn't directly linked to Plato's Atlantis, it is considered one of the early instances of the utopian genre. In Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, a dystopian novel published in 1932, Atlantis serves as a symbol of a lost and unattainable past. Huxley explores a world where humans are engineered, categorized, and stripped of their individuality, a grim vision of the future. Another remarkable literary work involving Atlantis is Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. This adventure novel, published in 1870, takes readers on a journey beneath the ocean's waves, where the enigmatic Captain Nemo navigates the submarine, the Nautilus. While Atlantis itself isn't the central theme, the novel is steeped into the allure of underwater mysteries and exploration. Throughout history, Atlantis has also found a place in the realm of music. Composers and musicians have been inspired by the mythical land, creating symphonies, operas, and songs that capture the essence of Atlantis. Chapter 6: Atlantis in the Arts, a creative legacy. Richard Wagner, a renowned composer of the 19th century, crafted an opera titled Das Rheingold that featured a magical golden treasure and underwater scenes reminiscent of Atlantis. The opera, part of Wagner's larger work known as Der Ringen des Nibelungen, delves into themes of power and temptation, key elements in the Atlantis myth. In the realm of visual arts, Atlantis has served as a muse for painters and sculptors. Artists have sought to capture the grandeur and mystery of this ancient land through their creations. Their interpretations have ranged from awe-inspiring underwater cityscapes to haunting images of a submerged civilization. Throughout the centuries, one thing is crystal clear: Atlantis is more than a story. It's a mystery that keeps calling us, a puzzle that won't give up its secrets. The Atlantis story, full of twists and turns, captivates and intrigues us. It transcends time and place, a testament to human curiosity and imagination. Our exploration of Atlantis is not just about finding a lost city. It's a timeless quest for knowledge and understanding. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more stories like this one. Also, you can watch our next amazing video on the RMS Titanic. Thank you for watching and see you next time.